All. This is Dr. Mubin Sayed, and we are in the KoolBeens Cafe. So, today, what I wanted to do was to discuss the 1 point and 2 point perspective. So, before we do that, is there any question? Should we do that or should we talk something else? So, Kelly says, I'm going to sign off early today. We have a weekend, so we would sign off early for all of us. Um, Robin says, interesting article in the BMJ, COVID-19 is the US compensation scheme. So I presented this. There is a person, Michelle Zimmerman, in there who is also vaccine injured. She's in contact with me as well, and we'll have her soon on our talks as well. Um, Cynthia says, last hour was very serious. This is a great for follow-up brain replenish. Yes. Imagine the patients who are actually injured, how they are going through all of this. Beria says, yeah, this is so interesting. Okay, excellent. Um, how did you hear about Bree's experience? So, um, someone sent me the paper and copied a bunch of people. Bree was on that as well. So, that is how Bree and I connected. So, Denise asked the same question. Adam says, we'll get better one day. Yes, we will. Yes. Meeple Art says, very sobering, that's for sure. I hope she and all the vaccines should get better. Yes, me too. I have some of them in my own family, so I genuinely am saying it when am saying it. So Texas says, giant carrot people take on smaller Luffy monsters. So let's start with our art. Again, I feel shy doing the art in presence of Meeple Art, who is an artist. But I'll do something. I'm not an art teacher, so if you're a new person who is watching this, it's just my love of art that I'm presenting. And more of this is really an exercise for our brains to be frustrated and try to do something. And even if it is not good enough, that frustration, that attention is what we want. That is what activates our brain. So Margaret says, does coffee cause problems or is it caffeine? This one is caffeinated, and I'm thinking that tomorrow is a weekend, so even if I didn't sleep correctly, that's okay. Patty Zig says, so Patty, I think today's your birthday, so happy birthday. Didn't hear, did her symptoms appear immediately? Yes. So the same day when she got the vaccine. So Meeple Art, with your permission, let's start. So I still have the old windows open. Let's go to this window. So this is an interesting thing in art, and that is perspective. And perspective is can be seen in many ways, but we're going to talk about 1 point and 2 point perspective. So before that, I want to clarify something that I see many of the 1 point, 2 point perspective or 3 point perspective uh, discussion videos or teachings do not discuss this, and that is the following. This 1 point perspective or 2 point perspective is actually to tell us, let's say we have an object. Let's say this is a three-dimensional object. It has some, of course, surfaces. What perspective is going to help us understand is how these surfaces will be drawn. What does that mean? How will they be shortened? How, as we look at the things, what happens is because of our things converge and they focus in our eyes, it seems like things, wherever we are seeing, they kind of vanish into that area. So, to give you an example, if I can Google it, We go in here and I say 1 point perspective train. So let's say these train tracks, if I take some images, actual photos. So if you look at this photo, for example, actually this is a good photo. So everything seems to be converging here. And what is this point? This is where we are looking at. And if you see here, every line is ending up there. So the point is that as we kind of simulate that thing, we learn 1 point perspective, 2 point perspective, 3 point perspective. But important thing is that if we have a scene in which there are objects with multiple facets which are facing in various directions, for example, let's say there is another box. That box is somewhere like this. Let's say this way. Now this box, the next box here, have a perspective of its own, and the vanishing points or the points that I'm going to discuss of its own that are going in some other direction. This box has the vanishing points in some other direction. So this is something that is important, that usually the perspective teaching does not cover, at least on the YouTube type videos. Today, what we are going to do is first we're going to look at 1 point perspective and how to draw using 1 point perspective. So the first thing to do is to decide where is the horizon. And we know that the idea of the horizon, so let's say we make a horizon line here. The idea of the horizon is that this is where this is our eye level. This is where we are looking at. And then the second thing is this is a 1 point perspective. That means everything converges at one point where we are looking at. So decide where are we looking at. Let's say we are looking right smack in the middle. On this horizon, we can't say that, hey, we are looking here. If we are looking here, then the horizon is here. If we are looking here, then the horizon is here. So wherever we are looking, that is where the horizon is. And on the horizon, wherever on this whole wide line, wherever we are actually focused on, that is where the point perspective is. So now let's say this is our point perspective. Our eyes are looking here. Now, when we are looking here, let's say we want to make an object that is near us. Maybe let's say that's a box. Box is easier to make and explain. So let's say we want to make a box that will be built using 1 point perspective. So here is how we'll make it. Make a line. So I'm hoping you're going to draw with me. So make a line, another line, and this. So we have a square. Can be rectangle, square. Now the question is, where is the sides go? Do they go like this or do they go like this? Is it like this? Is it like this? Is it like this? How is this box's remaining faces going to appear to us? And interestingly, the remaining faces are going to appear to us based on where we are looking. We are looking here. So what you do is you take a line from where we are looking and connect it to this. So I'm going to actually use a ruler to draw straight lines. So here, sorry, I'm going to use a ruler to draw not so straight lines. So this is one line. Then I'm going to connect this as well. Then I'm going to connect this as well. And I'm going to connect this too. So all of a sudden, I have connected all the points to 1 point, all the points in the box to 1 point. Now decide on this line, how far, how deep is the box? So let's say when I say the box is this deep. If that is the case, I would make a cut here and similarly a cut here. Again, we are not doing 2 point perspective. We're not doing 3 points. So these lines are just straight. After that, I can now erase the lines inside, and you see we have a box. If you said, hey, I don't want a box which is empty, make the remaining inside faces as well. Then what you do is you take a line from here and connect to this line. It's not very straight. And then you take a line from here and connect here. So now if I erase the perspective lines, then the remaining lines here are making this box, right? What a beautiful box. Old school says you learned that from me, Dr. Bean. Thank you very much for teaching me this. Jim says Fauci personally made millions on the vaccines. He's liable for the deaths and injuries. Okay, so 3D drawing, imagine cityscapes. So yeah, we'll make some cityscapes today. Okay, so Erica Cat says with a little imagination, the box can be a doctor or Polly. Yes. So I'm going to connect these lines back here. Why? Because I want to make more boxes. So imagine there is a line of boxes from here all the way to the horizon. So maybe there are some more boxes. I'm going to make the another box that is a little bit in the distance, like this. I have made it a little incorrect. So here. Now let me take some of these lines away. Not all. And all of a sudden we have two boxes, one here and one in front, which will look accurate to our eye. Why? Because when we were standing somewhere over here, so let's say this is we, and we are facing this way, and we are looking here, these boxes on the way to us will appear like this. So what we are seeing here is an accurate depiction of the size change and the do you see that there is a shortening that occurs as the line moves this way. Now imagine we have a house or we have a tree that is above the horizon line. So let's make something bigger over here. So once again, this is the perspective point. I want to make a bigger building here. Still this building is facing us. So we make that little little building. And what do? We take all the four corners and we connect them to the perspective line point. I'm not using a I should use my ruler. So now with these lines, I can decide, I can actually make now multiple buildings. So let's say the first building, this one that is in front of us, it finishes here. And that is the line this one has. Now let's say next to that is another line, another building. I'm going to, and that building is this high, this high. So once again, this side, bottom is clear, top is something like this. And now we have, so if I had made a line from here to this point. So kind of accurate. So imagine I continue to make more lines. Some of them are here. I should make the perspective line. So let's say this guy, I want to have the height here. So connect it to this, and that's the height. And I remove this part. This guy was this high, and so on. So all of a sudden now I have a bunch of buildings which are, because I didn't use the ruler very well, still a little crooked, but it look like falling a little bit, but oh well. So imagine this is how, this may be how a little street would look like, a city street. And if you wanted to be creative now, you could make a bunch of people who are here. So there is a person who's here. Remember their eye level is always going to be at the horizon. So here are the people. Now the mobinism starts. So you can see here, right? So now we have people here as well. So this is a street. Let's give the people a little color and some groundings. Let's give ground to everyone. And voila, let's give some color on this side to the buildings. Maybe we can even give some door to the building and some, the some windows. And look, look, we got, check it out. Giant carrot people are here. So this is one point perspective. Why? Because everything is kind of vanishing here. I wanted to make, let's say, using the one point perspective, let's say I wanted to make a tree, a row of trees. So imagine there are trees here that are behind these boxes. So let's say we make a tree here. So once again, what we'll do is this is the point where we are looking at. So we'll make first trees height over here, and we'll put this line. I need to use my ruler. Where is my ruler? So here, imagine that this is the line and this is the line. So now I can make trees that are going to be on these lines, right? So if I now remove these lines, and if I give them some greenish color, very typical of a child's trees, green color, and let's say we give them a little bit of a texture to them, and let's give brownish color to their trunks. Check this out. So now we have used a one point perspective, and we have created a cityscape. Maybe these boxes, we don't have a reason for why these boxes are here. This is a futuristic city where we don't know what the boxes they were doing in the future with. And Vinod says, Dr. Bean, a sun and some shadows, and this is sellable. Okay, so where should we have a sun? So I made shadows here. So let's say the sun is somewhere over here. So let's make some, right? So sun is blazing over here, and let's give it some more sunlight and more yellowish things. So that is the sun. And so if that is where the sun is, then the shadows are here. Shadows are here. Shadows are on this side. Shadows are here. Correct? Shadows are here for the buildings and these things. And for the trees, shadows are here. All right. Going once, going twice. That's it. Now we have gotten some shadows too. Oh, the shadows should, there should be a single point from here as well. So shadows should be like this. All right. So now we've gotten shadows as well. So Par says feeling dead in my living room due to community medicine. So Parth is sitting somewhere studying community medicine. Man, community medicine is boring and dry. You should be happy that I'm teaching art while you're doing community medicine. You made me laugh, Parth. Says feeling dead in my living room. This is the life of medical students and doctors. So Romnick says, is a cubicle a room in a hostel? I think so, yes. So Robin says Dr. Bean could seriously do movie intro animations. Absolutely. So the something that is bothering me is these little lines. Good. Cool. So of course there is a problem with this perspective, and the problem is as it goes later, it doesn't lighten up that well because the perspective should lighten up. Let me see if I can lighten it up a little bit. Oh, this guy's it got lightened up. So these things should be lightened up that are far. This guy is actually near. So so now this perspective has another part, the atmospheric perspective in it as well. There is size perspective too. And remember we talked about the detail and those things. So there may be some reduction in the detail. So now if you would see this area would actually be looking farther just because I've made it a little less. Usually, further things start becoming bluish and grayish, right? In here and make it a little gray and maybe make some gray mountains there, right? So now, little more of a cityscape. So this is one point perspective. This perspective was something similar to this. You are standing here, you are looking here, and everything seems to be converging at that point. You could actually use one point perspective to look up as well. For example, I could do the same one point perspective. Excuse me. I could use the same one point perspective. Let's say this is the horizon. This is the one point perspective. Now I'm going to make, let's say here, where is my ruler? So one line, sec, uh, sorry, second line, then let's say third line, fourth line. Check this out. You would actually be happy with the outcome. Fifth line. Then let's do something like this. So you could say, what the heck is this? So let me show you. Let me cut this one here, here, and somewhere over here, and here, and here. Let me cut this thing over here and here. You would see in a second what's going to happen. Let me cut this here. Let me cut this guy here and here. Okay, so ready? It's going to happen um, in an instant, and you are going to say, whoa, what just happened? So if I can now make a few windows, I could make, let's say, this thing, then here. I should have kept the perspective and made these lines with the perspective as well. So just um, forgive me for not making those with perspective. But imagine, okay, so now I'm going to color this, and I think you would find that this will be fun. Yes, we just made what we just made. We just made a set of buildings amongst which we are standing, and we are looking upwards. So this is all sky. We are standing somewhere over here looking up. So this is also done with the 1 point perspective, but we are looking up. So again, the point of 1 point perspective is we are showing things converge at a point where we are looking. It's not necessary that we are always looking at the horizon. We could be looking up, we could be looking down, and the perspective can then be shaped that way. So how about we leave it for 1 point perspective today, and we do some chit chat as well. Margaret says skyscrapers. Correct. So these were skyscrapers. We were looking upwards. Paul is saying 44 over 177, 107, 45%. Can we do better? Yes, let's do better. Meepalard, what did you think? Pass or not? Texas says, I can see this KB Skyfrog is crop dusting. Can you? Guy Telfer says, got it, skyscrapers. Correct. So if I go back here, right? So we are standing in the middle. Yes. So Paul Borg says we need a water tower. Correct. So somewhere on one of these, I should not have deleted my 1 point perspective thing. So let's say the perspective is like this. There is a little water thingy here, tower. That would look like this. Then I take these lines out. So here we have a water tower on one of them. We could probably have the legs like you see in New York, legs of the tower. Cabbage Jack says, "You're so cool. Thank you very much. You too." Robin says, "This is totally amazing." I think so too. That's why I draw them. Meeple art. Meeple art, tell me, how's it going? Parth says, first we get first we cry for getting admission in medical college, then we cry we are in the medical college. Yes, you are correct. I've been through that. Michelle Mason says, need a Luffy walking with the people. So I don't know if maybe there was a Luffy that was jumping from here to here. So this was his face and he was jumping like this. And this was his, and his tail was up in the air. And we are seeing him from underneath because he is above us jumping. So, of course, this is a weirdly positioned picture. So, this is a Luffy, and he is jumping. He's kind of going from one building to the other. We're looking up, and there is a Luffy jumping. Paddy says, I like the green building, almost looks like an Empire State Building from the ground. Yes, thank you. Meeple Art says, love the drawing, Spidey Cat. Yes. Says, jumping you. Meanwhile, in America, says, is he jumping or falling? Meanwhile, in America, he's jumping. He's going from this building all the way to this building. He's midair. He's jumping. I'll have to kind of make corrections in, right? So this is how he is jumping. He could be falling with the all the limbs extended and just falling downwards, but he is probably going to be jumping from this side and going all the way here. Maybe there is a little um, kind of raised ledge on which this cat was sitting, and then it is now jumping from this ledge to the other side. Now we're making a comic. Yes, go Luffy. Ramnik says, I saw King Kong like that between two buildings. Well, now you saw Luffy too. Flying squirrel. Flying squirrel cat. Sure. Erika says, Luffy's a cat woman jumping away from Batman who wanted, yes, balcony is correct. This is funny. Cloudy, your mom says, this is boring. I don't know why I'm here, but your art is cool. Thank you very much. I am actually not an artist. If you are new here, I'm a medical doctor and we do our discussions about medical topics. And every once in a while, we do this kind of boring thing. And super cool cat, Luffy. Yes. Cloudy, Cloudy, your mom says some rude as hell person muted me for no reason in another live, and now I'm here. Well, welcome. If you say we can mute you here as well, so you can hop onto another live. Super clause, yes. Cabbage, Cabbage Jack says, please draw a cabbage. Okay, so this is a bigger problem to draw a cabbage. So what we'll do is cabbage is really like a little tree, correct? So let's say we make the structure of the tree first. And I wish I had made the perspective points first, but let's say, so this is the structure of the tree. Then on top of this, we've gotten this tree like structure, right? So these are those little things attached on top of it, correct? So then we take out some of these things. So we have a guest today, unexpected, the cloudy your mom. So let's see if we can make her happy or him. So that, so let's say, so this is the basic structure for cabbage. Let's make it blue in color. The cabbages. Okay, so um, this is mostly beef cream in color, so I can reduce the size and quickly make this. I hope it will be okay to eat this cabbage as well. Well, so let's see. We make these. So cabbage, cabbage jack. What we must do is that we must provide eyes to this cabbage. So we'll do this and we'll do this. And let's make the cabbage all very nice, womany. So let's take this color and remove these little lines. And then let's take this and kind of cut the lines in half. Eyes actually, because mostly the whole eye does not show. That actually looks a little creepy if we can see the whole eye. The now these two eyes are too far apart. Oh well, so we'll just make a big cabbagey smile. So this is the smile. That's a very creepy smile. Oh well, this is what you get when you when you get free art. So this is a real creepy cabbage. I wanted to make it cute and beautiful, but instead, the laugh of the cabbage has really ruined it for all of us. What do you say? Should I take the laughter out? Okay, so this still looks a little better. So then somebody said, make a meatball next to it. So I'm laughing at this. Let me show you. So I'm gonna make a meatball, but um, meanwhile in America says free art equals fraud. Okay, that was a risky thing to speak. Okay, DTS says, has Doctor been drinking? No, not at all. Happy cauliflower. Okay, so now let's make a meatball next to it. So let's say here is a meatball, and then maybe there is another meatball here, and let's say another meatball here, right? So So there are the meatballs, and then what we do is I think they look like they have these little, right? These wrinkly things on them. Let's ground them. And then we take, so I hope the medical student who is Parth, who is stuck somewhere, is becoming a little happier with this. So here we have a bunch of meatballs. Okay. All right. So some meatballs. This is a total creepy cauliflower. I'm not liking the cauliflower smile. So I have to wipe it off. So give me 1 second. The smile was killing me. So maybe a more sexy smile like this. Yeah, this is still better than what we had. So if the light is on this side, then we can put some highlights on this one. So who started me on making this? So I think we should make some highlights on the meatballs as well towards the light. And all of a sudden we have good cauliflower with some meatballs. They're all arranged in a perspectively attempted to be correct one. Now the question is, if the light is on this side, then the shadow has to be like this, right? And this all has to be in the shadow. This all has to be in the shadow. This has to be in the shadow. Then this has to be in the shadow. This has to be in the shadow. So this is our lit surface. Jim says, "Can we have some happy spaghetti?" Spaghetti. Okay. So how do we make spaghetti? I have to see. Hmm. Okay. So okay. So something like that. How about if we make a kind of a shallow bowl? So here is the bowl, right? In the bowl, we have some spaghetti, and we can take the colors out to recolor this bowl. So let's say this bowl has this blue color, correct? And now light is on the other side, so this side will be sort of have a correct. And inside the bowl is this with these These little, so maybe there's a tiny piece of spaghetti fallen here, and then some of that is here. Maybe there is some hanging here. Okay, so maybe there is a piece of spaghetti fallen here. So that is some creepy black colored spaghetti burnt. Okay, so there is a question from Guy Telfer. Do antibodies become platelets? No. Antibodies can attach with platelets that can cause clotting, but they do not become platelets. Jim says those are big meatballs. Yes. So if these meatballs are supposed to be in this um, thing, then yeah, they are some big meatballs. And this cauliflower is even bigger in there. Maybe we should actually make one more thing over here. Let's say, check this out. Now we have a tiny fish here as well. How about that? All right. So now we have a fish as well that is just somehow present on the other side, other side of the meat bowl, and it finishes there. And then volcano. Margaret McKenna says volcano in the background. Okay, so let's make a volcano. So here are these guys, and then volcano. Is this something that would kind of erupt like this? Like this? I hope that's what you meant, Margaret. There you go. So we have a volcano in the background. What I do not know is what will be the color of the volcano. So I'm just going to give it some color. Then we shall see. There you go. Now we have a volcano in the background as well. Cool. Nicolene says, tuna looks like volcano. Yes, and now we have a volcano separately as well. DDS says, is this the new menu at the Cool Beans Cafe? Yes. Vinod says, is these poor things are lost in the metropolis above? What perspective is it? So this one is really no perspective, right? But yeah, maybe these are all kind of visiting this metropolis, and they came from here, they were looking up, then all of them are standing here saying, all right, we are lost. Margaret says, when you adjusted the screen, it looked like a top of volcano. Yes, so here. That's correct. So Ramnik says it takes the energy of a volcano to cook. So with this, Meeple Art says dystopia. Totally. Meatball says draw yourself. Okay, I actually have learned how to draw myself. So let me show you. that is that is Dr. Bean. There. Oh, glasses, glasses. Yes, yes. What kind of glasses do I have? Kind of. So they're probably like this. There you go. What is the central part? The central part is something like this. That's it. New haircut. That haircut is like this. There. Meanwhile, in America says, ah, now I recognize you. Absolutely. Nicolene says, self self portrait. Now this is cool bean number one. Yes. So if we want to make it like the king bean, as Dr. Paul Merrick calls me, then what we'll do is we'll do something like this, and we'll make something like this, and we'll make these funny little rounded things. And then I need to buy a new pen for this drawing. Jewels should be what? Blue in color? Okay, there you go. Now we have the the king bean. So this is what we have. If we give him a little more presence. So Jim says, don't forget your cats. That is the problem. I have no idea how to draw the cats. So That looks like a wicked cat. One cat. Considering my challenge with drawing the cat, I would just leave it at Luffy and not try to draw Kyrie because Luffy is a Bengal. We'll give it those little Bengal thingies as well. Oh, it doesn't look like he's sitting on some place. So then there you go. This is it. Bay Area Aquarius, Bay Areas Aquarius says, I love the look, kind of watercolor shading style. Yes. So with this, Meeple Art says, that's an awesome cat. You can draw cats. Yes. So this one is kind of accidentally awesome. So with this, have a nice weekend. Enjoy. Thank you very much. Try to draw these as well. The point is not to draw perfect cartoons, but to just exercise your brain with a new thing. And that is what causes the ascending reticular activating system to become active. And it activates the brain and it activates the body. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend. Please like, subscribe, and share. And I would see you on Monday. Bye bye.